Thank you for tuning in to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast, where each week we will be covering today's real estate news, tips, tricks, and trends in the Kansas City real estate market. Hosted by the Brasel Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Heritage, out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And here's today's host.
Hi, I'm Tricia Dygert. I'm team leader for the Brasel Group here at RE/MAX Heritage, and I'll be your host today. Today we have Tracy Keene, real estate agent, and Terry Jagow, real estate agent.
Hi, Tricia.
Hello, Tricia.
Hi, Tracy.
So we're just the three T's today, gathering up, doing our thing.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll try not to get tongue-tied with our names. So we're going to start today with what the heck.
What the heck, Tricia?
I know. Terry, what is our topic for today?
So our topic for today is due diligence. And what does that really mean?
Means we're going to do our best for our clients and show them exactly what it is that they need to do when they're selling or buying their homes.
Always about gathering information, and it's also an important thing for the buyers themselves to do due diligence. Mm-hmm. So what kind of things do we think that what are those important things? Are we talking, learning about the market themselves, or?
Actually, yes, learning about the market, being informed. And then also that's something your agent can help you with as far as, pricing goes. Are you paying too much? Are you getting a great deal? How do homes compare? So that's something, part of the due diligence your agent can help you with. But there are also things you need to be aware of about the property itself. Like, is it insurable?
Right, which you kind of almost had an experience with that this week.
I kind of almost did have an experience with that regarding condition of roofs. And so if you can't obtain insurance, then you can't obtain a loan for the property.
Right.
So a lot of people don't realize that, but you need to contact your insurance agent early in the process. Make sure that your home is insurable.
Right, and just because a seller's agent may say it's fine, they're not an insurance agent. So
that's right.
Always be checking out. It's about making sure you're asking the questions. That's what I always tell my buyers. Just be asking every question you can possibly ask. Ask them of your lender to make sure about how the financing works. Make sure you're getting the best deal that you can get. Ask them of your agents. Make sure you know homeowners association. Look those covenants over, because those can be potentially big deals to you.
Right.
Also, inspections. We encourage our buyers to do inspections, because that's another place where they can negotiate the price, or at least make sure that the house is in decent order. Things are repaired, like electrical. Safety things before the appraisal comes through, too.
Right. Being informed on the condition of the home, because that does have an impact on the value.
Absolutely.
And then the other thing, part of due diligence from a buyer's perspective, is know how much you're really going to be spending. It's not just how much your monthly loan is, but it's your insurance on your loan.
Taxes.
Like Tricia said, homeowners association dues, those kinds of things. So before you get too far into the process, you should have a good knowledge of what it's going to cost you.
Yes, and don't just trust Zillow or those things of what their estimates are, because that estimate is just about your principal and interest. Those don't include homeowners insurance and taxes. Those are just the general thing. So people sometimes get shocked when all of a sudden they go, oh, I thought it was going to be $800 and it's $1,200.
Right.
A month, so.
And you may be approved for a high number, but you should also be aware of what your monthly outgoing payment's going to be, because it's not necessarily the same. You might not want, even if you could afford a more expensive house, maybe for your personal budget, you don't want to spend that much. So you should know how much your payment's going to be.
Yeah, and do your budgeting breakdown. So you don't want to be house poor. No one should want to be that. So make sure you're getting all your information and checking those things out.
And the title
is
the last one on here. And that's something that the title company helps you with, to make sure the home has a clean title. Right. And clean, and there's not a cloud on it, which means there aren't any liens on the title that could roll over,
whether they be tax or mechanic liens.
Right.
And that the taxes have been paid up to the time that the purchase of the house.
Right. Right. And sometimes you can have a lien on, like Tricia mentioned, mechanical lien, where the homeowner has had some work done but hasn't paid off the person that did the work. And you want to make sure a cost like that doesn't fall to you if you're the buyer. So.
Yes, no unexpected things.
That's right.
One thing I wanted to go back to, Tracy had mentioned about inspections, is that's another area where as a buyer, once inspections are done, make sure you actually go through and read that report. It's really easy to kind of go and scroll down to the back and say, oh, here's the punch list of what we might need to do or what we might need to think about. But really read that report. And I know my inspector encourages my buyers to call him directly and just go over it again and make sure that you know what's what. And you do have that resolution period and those inspection periods to try to kind of look at what would this cost me if I do it myself versus having, maybe the seller try to do some of it before you take ownership of the property. So make sure you're, if there's a question about the roof, make sure you get a roofer out there to check it out. Because at the end of the day, if you buy the house and then all of a sudden the roof leaks, then that's going to be your cost. Whereas maybe you could have had that roof replaced if you had a roofer out there before you even bought the property. So just always make sure you're asking questions. That's basically what due diligence is all about, is asking questions and getting the answers and making sure we have a good plan.
Yep, be informed.
Hey, it's time for Buyer Bites. So today we're going to talk about kind of why a buyer really needs to use a realtor and why that's for your best interest. So, Tracy, what do you think are some of the top reasons, especially in today's market, about why a buyer needs their own?
They need an agent to help them through the process, the different phases, inspections, appraisal, working with a lender, just being there to help them through. Because with buying a house, if the other person is like a for sale by owner, then no one has anyone to do the paperwork and to get through the process. And, statistically, it's 80+% of for sale by owners that become legal issues somewhere in there. And we just help them through the process. And we can also show them if the houses are good. If there's an issue with a house, we can point those things out, particularly for first-time home buyers. They don't know to look for cracks in the foundation, or if there are cracks, that they're not bad, that there's no shifting of the foundation. I mean, it's things like that we are trained to look for that they won't know to look for.
Right.
And as agents, we're not lawyers, but we are familiar with the contracts. And anytime you buy or sell a home, you enter a legally binding contract. So you really could use some help navigating how to work that contract, how to fill that in. And from a buyer's perspective, it is a nominal fee to be represented, if any.
Yes, since most all that's paid for by the actual seller.
It's usually covered by the seller. And the seller, if they're not selling it themselves, but they have an agent, they're represented by their agent. That agent is working for the seller. They're not working for the buyer. And while you don't have to have an agent to come buy one, you don't have someone looking out for your best interests like the sellers do. So it's important to be represented in a situation like that.
And like you said, it's almost free to have a buyer agent.
It is almost free. A lot of times it is covered.
Exactly.
So it just makes sense to have someone help you navigate the legalese. And like you said, Tracy, all the phases, when to get an inspection, when you're out of contract, when the timeline is. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that you just don't know if you're not in the business.
Exactly.
And what an eye-opener that is when you get in the business.
Exactly.
I had no idea.
Yes, how much you do behind the scenes versus, up front. The other thing I was thinking is, the market it moves so fast right now, and to try to go out there and just do it on your own and find a house and get the seller's agent to help you try to buy the house or whatever, you're kind of behind the gun. And negotiations up front are becoming kind of interesting with multiple offers. How are you going to make sure you're getting that house secured? Because if you're competing against multiple offers, you got 10 offers, you're probably not at a 50-50 chance anymore. You're at a 10% chance of you getting it.
Yes, and how are you going to be competitive? And that's something certainly a realtor can help you with, that you may not have access to that kind of information. on your own as an individual.
Yeah, being strategic, that's the big thing I push with my buyers is we want to be strategic in how we're approaching those offers because, at the end of the day, my job is to make sure we get that offer and we present something that makes that listing agent really want to take ours.
Yes. Yes, and I think that as agents, we may have access to more information than you can get not working with an agent. Certainly, what homes have been selling for, what a home lists for and what a home sells for are not necessarily the same thing.
Right.
And if you know that your neighbor had his house for sale for X amount of dollars, it doesn't mean that's what that it sold for. And so being able to have those kinds of statistics and information is helpful for you when you decide what kind of an offer you want to make on a house.
Right. And then we have, the ability to have relationships with other agents who have, pending contracts in those neighborhoods that, we can, work and get to some information that maybe no one else would have access to. So that's important when it comes to, home buying and all those things. So one thing I always say about why a buyer needs an agent is it's always the same phrase I use. If you were going to go through a divorce and your soon-to-be ex-spouse said, hey, just use my attorney, I don't think you'd want to.
No.
And the same applies.
That's right.
Exactly. You need to be represented for your benefit.
I agree.
And since it's almost free, that even makes it better.
Right.
So it's time for seller sound off. So today we're going to talk about seller concessions, which is different than commissions. It's concessions. So it's when you get a contract, and as a listing agent, we look it over and we see seller paid closing costs. Terry, what is all that?
What is all that? Yeah, it's usually a pretty good size number between $4,000 and $5,000, and there are several components that are wrapped into the closing costs. Part of that is the loan fees, title fees, right? And it can also be homeowner association dues, insurance up front. They collect insurance for a year, 3 months.
Some of them are 3 months, and then others are a year. It just
and
depends.
Then taxes, and that all gets wrapped up into the closing costs. So there are a lot of things that kind of fit into that. What else? What am I leaving out? That
title fees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that the bulk of it's going to be homeowners insurance and taxes, and then the loan processing fees,
right?
The loan origination fees. Sometimes when you do down payment assistance, there's some other fees that get thrown in there, like for MHDC, there's some additional fees, which can drive that number sometimes up. I've seen as much as $6,000 that people are asking.
Yes.
So, but why do you think, why are those being asked for, and how does that help our sellers even if they're looking at maybe giving some of that?
So the helpful portion, it helps the buyer quite a bit because it makes a determination of how much money they actually have to bring to the table as far as down payments and closing costs goes. It's a gift for the seller to give that can entice and help make a sale possible and come through. So that's one of the things they can do to enhance the sale of their home. Honestly, in a market where it's been really hot like it has been lately, you might not see so many people paying as much on closing costs. But depending on the individual situation, the seller has that ability to ease the process along with helping pay for the closing costs.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what it's basically doing, especially for first-time buyers who maybe don't have a ton of money saved, is it's a way for a seller to help that buyer keep some money in their pocket that they probably don't even have. So they may not even be able to afford all of that up front. So one thing I know that we've been doing on my listings is when we get those coming in, either I'm getting offers that come in with a little bit over list, to try to help balance that out so that our nets are still where we want it to be. And that's one thing always to look at, because at the end of the day, it's about your net as a seller.
Absolutely.
So whatever that purchase price is minus your concessions, if they give you an over list and you're doing the concessions, as long as we think it's going to appraise and for value, then that's a pretty good deal, because it kind of wins for everybody.
Right. And it enables you to go ahead and get that contract and move forward so you can sell your home.
And stop all the maddening of showings.
Stop it. There's a lot of people coming through. And another concession that you see a lot are home warranties, and that's a really great gift to give. It gives you some peace of mind from the seller's perspective and from the buyer's perspective that, things are covered to a point. And I think most of the home warranties that the seller can provide are for 12 months or 13 months, depending on the company. But it kind of gives the assurance to the buyer that, yes, I know it's an older home, but the furnace is working fine. But if there's a problem with it, it's covered with this warranty. So that's a great feature to be able to offer someone.
As a buyer's agent, I always ask for a home warranty. And, the nice thing, too, is a lot of the home warranty companies will send us cards letting us know when our clients have used their services.
Right.
And, this last year, I've had multiple buyers that have used their home warranty for ACs, furnaces, dishwashers.
Absolutely.
My daughter actually just used hers, and it was $375 to repair her dishwasher because it was a electronical thing that went wrong. And it saves them money because they only have to pay a deductible of $75 to $100 for somebody to come out and fix their furnace or whatever. So it's a good deal for home buyers.
And the nice thing that's a seller's advantage, depending on the company, but most of them, once you sign the person up for the warranty during the course of the contract, the seller is covered too at no charge. So if something happens, have you seen that?
Yes.
Seen that
Yes.
on some. So the seller gets a little extra protection as well, which is very nice. So for no cost to them, but a deductible, they can.
Right. And one thing I tell my sellers on my listings is I always encourage them to be very, very open to that home warranty piece, because to me, when we get that contract in and we've already agreed to that home warranty, then when inspections come up, and if that buyer is going to start trying to pick you apart, you can really just go back and we can reflect back and say, hey, we've already got this home warranty in place that's going to cover you, and we're doing that because we want you protected. But at the same time, we're not really willing to do a ton of things on inspection because of that. So it gives us the ability to kind of negotiate those inspection items, which can sometimes be monotonous and long and sometimes a little picky.
Right.
So, I've had good luck when I can go back to a buyer's agent and say, hey, we've already given you the home warranty. We're not going to do this list of 20 items. We may do 1 or 2. And that's worked out really well for my sellers. So I always, it's a small cost. I know the ones I use on the buyer side are $505. So, at the end of the day, what's that if compared to $2,000, $3,000 in inspections?
That's right.
During that negotiation.
Or the replacement cost of a furnace.
Right.
It's a peace of mind, too,
it's
for
money
the buyers.
well spent.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for listening to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast with the Brasel Real Estate Groups at RE/MAX Heritage. If you like our show and would like to keep up with our upcoming episodes, please like our Facebook page, the Brasel Real Estate Group, where we go live every Wednesday. Or you can find us on YouTube at the Brasel Real Estate Group page. To find out more about our real estate services, you can find us at www.braselrealestategroup.com or contact us at 816-897-5151. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day. Our friends at Homestead Inspection Company have been serving the Kansas City metro area for over 27 years. Homestead's inspectors can help you take control of a real estate transaction by helping you identify potential problems, survey the property overall condition, consider possible repairs and upgrades, help discover environmental hazards, take measure of your investment decision, and experience confidence and peace of mind during negotiations. Homestead covers inspections for seller pre-inspections, buyer home inspections, multifamily, and commercial property inspections. Contact Homestead today at www.homestead-inspection.com or 816-833-1090 for all your inspection needs. If you're in the market to find a home, refinance your existing home, or thinking about a reverse mortgage, contact Deb Brasel at Motto Mortgage Heritage. Deb's an award-winning mortgage broker who's been in the mortgage business for almost 20 years. Contact Deb today to get pre-approved at 816-678-9283. Deb Brasel is a licensed mortgage broker, NMLS number 299821. Motto Mortgage Heritage Office can be located at 1900 Northwest South Outer Road, Suite 209, Blue Springs, Missouri, 64015. Office NMLS number 1720438. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed.